He disappeared from a drying-out clinic at about 5 o'clock yesterday afternoon.
Yeah, as I thought. And I think his wife must be down here somewhere, don't you?
Yes.
Yes. Well, if you need any help, Inspector, do let me know.
On earth was that?
You don't want to know. But I'll bet George Pritchard knows more about Eddie Seward than he's letting on.
Sir Henry? There you go.
So, both you and Somerset were right. Penelope Seward was at Little Ambrose.
Yes, but wait, I have to tell this right. And this is where it becomes tangled. Like Mrs. Challoner's wool, remember?
Mrs. Challoner's wool.
Because the next morning, while the whole house was out, Mary Pritchard had a visitor. Now, whenever she heard of a new mystic or fortune-teller, she couldn't resist arranging for a reading. The one she had scheduled to call that morning was a fortune-teller who called herself Zarida.
Oh! Zarida, come in. Come in. Yesterday I had the most horrific horoscope and it all came true. I am so in tune with the spiritual...
I cannot come into this room. I feel evil and danger. What are they doing here? Blue hyacinths are a warning, Mary Pritchard. If you see blue hollyhocks, they will mean danger.
Danger.
And blue geraniums will mean your death.
I'm going to die.
You're not, darling.
Warning, then danger, then death.
You certainly got your money's worth this morning, didn't you?
I was foretold Eddie Seward's death. Now I've been foretold my own.
Look, you don't get blue hollyhocks. They're pink and they're yellow. So I think it's fair to say that you're going to be with us forever, Mary.
No, blue has always been repellent to me, George.
There's a pity food isn't blue.
Who brought the hyacinths in?
Mr. Pritchard.
Now, are you going to host the drinks tonight? You know, I've got the golf lot coming round.
I think I might be dead by this evening.
Enough! Enough of this spiritual poppycock!
George.
And the crackpots that you listen to! I hate this, Mary, I hate it! Everything I've ever done, you've ruined. You ruin every day of my life.
I'm scared, Georgie.
Well, I'm not scared of you anymore. Now, you stop this nonsense. You get out of bed, you go downstairs, you host this evening, you do it well, because I'm warning you, I've had enough!
Do you see there, Jane, that great big crack?
Yes. Have there been any new arrivals in the village over the last couple of years? Women in their 30s?
Well, there's been a couple of them, haven't there, Hess? They've had a change of nurse up at Summerley. Nurse Coupling came with excellent references, didn't she, Hess?
She did, yes. Well, I knew, of course, Miss Marple. Been here a year now.
Oh, well, of course, that makes 3 of them. And if only Dr. Frayne would eventually get round to asking you to marry him, well, then you'd be with us a little longer, wouldn't you?
If he ever does.
Why would Eddie Seward's body wash up at the golf course? Is there anything upriver from there?
Well, only an old watermill, but it's practically abandoned. Why, what are you thinking, Jane?
I think that Eddie came to Little Ambrose to find his wife. I imagine he was going to tell her that he'd cleaned himself up and was going to force the moment to its crisis and ask her to take him back.
Oh, but instead she killed him and dumped his body in the river?
Well, perhaps.
Miss Marple, I heard George Pritchard lie to the police yesterday.
Oh, where were you between 11:30 and the events at the golf course this afternoon?
I was here.
Thank you.
But he wasn't. He was absent from Summerley the whole time.
Who was the third woman who arrived?
Hazel Inster.
She's lovely.
And what do you know about her?
I came to Little Ambrose, I'd say, 18 months ago. For the peace and quiet.
And before that?
I lived in Alexandria. I love the antiquities. And it had always been a dream of mine to paint in Egypt.
Oh, how long did you live there?
Oh, a number of years. My sister's married to the British consul. I'm afraid I never knew this Mr. Seward, Inspector, so I can't really help you.
Of course. And before Egypt?
London.
May I ask, is it possible to make a living doing this?
A small one, yes. There's a gallery in Chelsea which takes the occasional work. But it's a vacation rather than a profession for me, detective.
Oh. Oh. Ah. Now, how much would he fetch?
Oh, no, he's not going anywhere. That's just a sketch for a commission from the golf club. When I paint it up, they're going to hang George in the clubhouse. In a manner of speaking. Sorry.
Is she coming down, Caroline?
No, Mrs. Pritchard.
Hazel, will you perform hostess duties for George tonight?
No, you.
Please.
So what puzzles me is this. Fortune tellers usually out for what they can get. Well, from what I can see, they just say what Mrs. Pritchard wants to hear. This Zarida, well, she seems to be frightening her. No advantage to herself. I don't see the point.
How did Mary hear of Zarida?
Susan Carstairs, the nurse before me, put her onto her.
Why does that not surprise me? Nurse Carstairs was really into this sort of thing.
She sent this letter. She left about 6 months ago.
It was all very sudden.
She sent this, sorry, Hester, but she sent this recommendation out of the blue last week.
Did Mrs. Pritchard make the appointment herself?
No, I rang Zarida at her request.
Well, I'm going to ring Miss Zarida now. Ask her what she's playing at.
Why did Nurse Carstairs leave so suddenly?
We have a steady flow of staff here, I'm afraid. My sister isn't the easiest person to work for.
Is she not in?
The number's discontinued. Gonna catch you.
Ah, Jonathan, welcome. Come through. I'm afraid my wife's nerves have got the better of her this evening. She won't be joining us. A pity. Hazel. Evening.
Excuse me. Sorry to intrude, Pritchard, but I wonder if I could have a quick word with your employees, Nurse Coupling and Miss Milewater.
Whatever for?
Just routine.
So you can use my study.
Thank you.
Hey, these are amazing, you little rascal.
Can I have 3, please? Thank you.
Mrs. Pritchard, I took a bottle of Dr. Frayn's magic medicine from your sister's bedroom.
Whatever for, Caroline?
I think you should taste it.
So you've been living with your uncle for over a year now?
That's right.
And where did you live before? What was the address?
Strathleven Mansions, Bayswater.
Did you live alone? Were you married?
I'm not married, no. You don't think I'm that dead man's wife, do you, Inspector?
It's just procedure, miss.
Have you played the new chorus yet? I think Mrs. Pritchard might need to see you, Doctor. Excuse me. Thank you. I'm afraid I must have a cab posture.
You're a novelist, aren't you, Mr. Pritchard?
That's right, yeah.
How is the book going, Pritchard? You've been working on that for as long as you've been here, haven't you?
It's a very long book.
What's it about?
Well, it's an historical novel. It's based on The Princes in the Tower. In many ways, it's the best story Shakespeare never wrote.
Didn't he?